involved in, the victims he left behind, and how it was all covered up. After years of cover-ups, 2 suicides, and a victim's note that included details of a brutal assault, Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has finally been arrested for his role in the Epstein files. This arrest came after footage of him being involved in blackmailing victims came out. Are more arrests on the way? And who is going to prison? The fallout from the Epstein files has started, and everyone from the British royal family to the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, is involved. In this video, we're going to look at all the crimes Prince Andrew was allegedly involved in, the victims he left behind, and how it was all covered up.
Former Prince Andrew has been arrested at his Sandringham estate. The King's brother, who is now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, has been released in just the past half hour. You can see a photo there of him leaving the police station. He is being investigated on suspicion of misconduct in public office amid questions over his relationship with the late sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein.
King Charles, who was not told about the arrest in advance, has released a statement saying the law must take its course.
Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein go way back. They first met in 1999 after Ghislaine Maxwell introduced them to each other, and since then, Prince Andrew has met Epstein multiple times and even flown on his private plane. The latest release of the Epstein files shows Prince Andrew at Epstein's Island, and flight logs prove he went there multiple times. Among the correspondence is an invitation for Epstein to dine at Buckingham Palace. Epstein's offered to introduce Mountbatten Windsor to a 26-year-old Russian woman, and photos that appear to show Mountbatten Windsor kneeling over an unidentified woman lying on the floor. In the early 2000s, Virginia, a woman from the UK, claimed that she had been trafficked by Epstein and Maxwell and forced to have sexual relations with Andrew on 3 occasions, starting when she was just 17.
And there's only one of us telling the truth, and I know that's me.
That truth, as Virginia Giuffre tells it in her first interview on British soil, is that she was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew when she was 17 years old. It was taped before Prince Andrew went public in that widely criticized interview where he strenuously denied all allegations.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
But Giuffre says the prince had sex with her on 3 occasions. She was brought to London by convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, where she was instructed to dance with Prince Andrew at a nightclub.
I mean, it was horrible, and this guy was sweating all over me. Like, his sweat was like, it was raining.
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
And then Giuffre described what happened next at a townhouse after the club.
It didn't last very long, the whole entire procedure. It was disgusting. He wasn't mean or anything, but he got up and he said thanks and walked out, and I sat there in bed just horrified and ashamed. It was a wicked time in my life. It was a really scary time in my life. I had just been by a member of a royal family.
Prince Andrew denied the allegations from day one and called Virginia Giuffre a liar. Even after photos of Virginia with Prince Andrew came out, he claimed that the photos were fake and that he didn't remember anything. Keep in mind that Prince Andrew was photographed walking with Jeffrey Epstein after his criminal conviction. And according to emails included in the latest release, he even congratulated Epstein after his release.
Was quoted as such from the 41-year-old's family. It says, "It's with utterly broken hearts that we announce that Virginia passed away last night at her farm in Western Australia. She lost her life to suicide after being a lifelong victim of sexual abuse and sex trafficking." The New York Post says that Giuffre took legal action against billionaire financier Epstein in 2015, alleging that she was trafficked at age 16 after his ex-lover and convicted Madam Ghislaine Maxwell recruited her from her job as a locker room attendant at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. The mom of 3, according to the Post, also alleged that she was forced to have sex with disgraced Prince Andrew 3 times when she was 17, including at Epstein's Little St. James Island in New Mexico, and Little St. James Island in New Mexico and in Maxwell's London home, where a notorious photo of her with King Charles' eldest brother was taken. The Post says the allegations became the biggest scandal to rock the royal family in a generation. Again, hearing of the sad news just within the past hour, Virginia Giuffre, the most prominent victim of late convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, taking her own life on Thursday. It was announced on Friday, her death. She was 41 years old, her family confirming this. People saying Giuffre, Jeffrey Epstein, and Prince Andrew, accuser, sadly dying by suicide at the age of 41.
The worst part is what happened to Virginia Giuffre after she exposed what Jeffrey Epstein had done to her. Virginia was working on writing a book that included details of her assault when she was hit by a truck. Somehow, Virginia survived, but days later she committed suicide. Now, when was the last time someone who miraculously survived an accident committed suicide? And that too, only months before the official release of the Epstein files.
Welcome back and Alive Now. I'm Austin Westfall. Breaking news coming in, some sad news to share. We're learning this from the New York Post, several other outlets reporting this as well. Virginia Giuffre, the most prominent victim of the late convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, took her own life on Thursday. This is just weeks after she made headlines for saying that she had days to live after she claimed to have been hit by a bus. A statement given to NBC News was quoted as such from the 41-year-old's family. It says, "It's with utterly broken hearts that we announce that Virginia passed away last night at her farm in Western Australia. She lost her life to suicide after being a lifelong victim of sexual abuse and sex trafficking." The New York Post says that Giuffre took legal action against billionaire financier Epstein in 2015, alleging that she was sex trafficked at age 16 after his ex-lover and convicted Madam Ghislaine Maxwell recruited her from her job as a locker room attendant at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. The mom of 3, according to the Post, also alleged that she was forced to have sex with disgraced Prince Andrew 3 times when she was 17, including at Epstein's Little St. James Island in New Mexico and in Maxwell's London home, where a notorious photo of her with King Charles' eldest brother.
When her father was asked about the suicide, this is what he said.
Tell me about your reaction when you heard that she'd taken her life.
Well, first of all, I couldn't even believe it. I started crying right away. I'm still crying. I can't believe that this is happening. It's impossible. And then for them to say that she committed suicide, there's no way that she did. Somebody got to her.
Prince Andrew was only one of the men that Virginia was working on exposing. She was the first person to reveal that Epstein was trafficking women all over the globe. Even though no one else was ever prosecuted and the Department of Justice says that Epstein was working alone, these leaked files and Virginia's testimony suggest that other people were involved.
What sort of men were you being trafficked to?
I was trafficked to a lot of types of different men. I was trafficked to other billionaires. I was trafficked to politicians, professors, even royalty. So the circles that Jeffrey Epstein ran in weren't your typical setting of human trafficking, and it was the elite of the world. It was the people who run the world. It was the most powerful people in the world, and those are our leaders. Those are the people that we are supposed to look up to. It's corrupt. It's corrupt to the core.
Why do you think Epstein did that to you? Why do you think he gave you over to other men?
I think for Epstein, it was a many of reasons. It wasn't just one reason at all. It wasn't just doing it to make money or anything like that. I don't even know if he ever made money from it. In my opinion, it was to show off to his friends, to always have a bevy of girls around him. It was like, so going to a dinner party, you bring a bottle of champagne. I was the bottle of champagne. And that's who was shared with his friends, or his people that he knew. Some of them were just acquaintances. And the other reason, you know, and he's touched on this subject with me before, so I can use the words from his mouth, is that he used me as a form of blackmail. So, you know, these people would owe him favors.
The book Virginia was writing before her death was never completed, but part of it was still released. The accusations included in it are part of the reason that Prince Andrew was arrested today. There is also an account of the notorious photograph from that evening. Virginia says that Ghislaine recruited her and took her to meet Epstein and Prince Andrew. She writes, "My mom would never forgive me if I met someone as famous as Prince Andrew and didn't pose for a picture. I ran to get a Kodak funsaver from my room, then returned and handed it to Epstein. I remember the prince putting his arm around my waist as Maxwell grinned beside me." Epstein snapped the photo.
Details from this brand new book. And what does it tell us about her alleged relationship with Prince Andrew, one that he has, of course, strongly denied?
I think a lot of what you see in her memoir here, Nobody's Girl, Becky, is not necessarily that the broad strokes are new to us. These accusations against Prince Andrew have been around for many years now. It is the harrowing details, it is the blow-by-blow account that sends shivers down your spine. She describes the first time that she was meeting Prince Andrew being told, allegedly, in her words, by Maxwell, that today, like a Cinderella, she would meet her Prince Charming, and that they went out shopping that day, and that she very specifically picked an outfit that was these sparkly jeans with a pink top because she was a teenager and she wanted to wear what teenagers do, and she looked at the outfit and thought that's something that Britney Spears might wear. And to now know that outfit and remember that infamous image from 2001 that was published across British tabloids, allegedly again of her and Prince Andrew, you get an understanding of just how young she says she was at the time. She even recalls that Prince Andrew was asked to guess her age during this first meeting, during this initial meeting, and that he accurately described it as 17 years old. And I want to read you an excerpt from the book here as to what happened in that conversation next, according to her. "My daughters are just a little younger than you," he told me, explaining his accuracy. As usual, Maxwell was quick with a joke. "I guess we'll have to trade her in."
It wasn't just Virginia's mom who knew that Prince Andrew was involved with her underage daughter. As we peel back the layers of how Epstein operated, we see that Epstein was both blackmailing women and paying off their parents to stay quiet. During a recent interview after her death, Virginia's brother revealed that her father had been taking money from Epstein to stay quiet.
You confronted your dad. What did you say to him?
I said, we know. I mean, you were dad. You sexually abused your daughter. It's absolutely heinous what he did.
Sky Roberts is 5 years younger than Virginia, who was groomed to be Epstein's, as she put it, sex slave when she was 16. She recounts in her memoir the moment Epstein pulled out a grainy photograph of Sky, then in middle school. "We know where your brother goes to school," Giuffre says Epstein told her. "You must never tell a soul what goes on in this house." Later, Giuffre suggests Epstein may have paid off their father in exchange for his silence.
I do remember my dad buying decently nice things at certain points in our life, like a new boat, and if there was a payment wired to him, like it would be disgusting. It'd be disgusting that he accepted money.
Their father, also named Sky Roberts, denies allegations against him, telling NBC News, "Never once did I ever abuse my daughter." And in a statement in the memoir, says he never knew what was going on with Epstein until he saw it online.
As for what Virginia was actually going through, she says that she flew on the Lolita Express multiple times. The Lolita Express was Epstein's private plane, and according to testimony from Virginia, Epstein used to assault girls while traveling. He would always keep a few girls with him on his plane in case he got bored. The most shocking thing is that everyone on the plane, the pilots, the crew, and even his passengers, all saw it happen in front of them, but they turned a blind eye to it. They covered up for him and never reported any of it.
Wealth was so vast, the fact that he had this fleet of planes. We've heard a lot about the Lolita Express. What happened on the Lolita Express?
Everything that happened on the Lolita Express and his other planes was the same thing that happened in his bedrooms and the massage rooms. on the beach, wherever we were. The abuse did not stop because we're in the air. 95% of the time, there was always sex involved. Jeffrey couldn't take a 2-hour flight without having to ejaculate. Like, that's how sick this man was.
How did you live every day? How did you get on board that plane? How did you live knowing you're going off to New York or to the island or to wherever you were about to be trafficked to? You must have been a ball of dread and anxiety.
I was horrified, I was sad, I was angry, I was disgusted. I was a shell, and the only way that I could cope with what I was going through was, taking Xanax. And Xanax is like an anti-anxiety tablet, but it also, it took away that feeling of anger, sadness. It made me feel numb. It was a numbing tablet, and it helped me cope with what was going on at the time. It took a lot of people involved. It took doctors, psychiatrists, gynecologists, dentists. All these people knew what was going on.
Virginia also revealed another key aspect of the story. The real mastermind behind the abuse wasn't Epstein. It was Ghislaine Maxwell. According to Giuffre's testimony, Maxwell was the one who initially approached her, built trust, and introduced her to Epstein. She described Maxwell as the person who normalized the environment, instructed her on what was expected, and facilitated encounters with powerful men. Giuffre claimed Maxwell played an active role in recruiting young women and maintaining the structure of Epstein's inner circle. Those allegations became central to Maxwell's criminal trial. In 2021, Maxwell was convicted in federal court on charges related to sex trafficking and conspiracy. Prosecutors argued that she helped Epstein identify, groom, and exploit girls for years. She was later sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Welcome back to CBS This Morning. We are hearing from one of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged victims. Her name is Virginia Giuffre. In her first interview since Ghislaine Maxwell was denied bail this week, Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls. Now, this is the first time that Maxwell has faced criminal charges in connection with Epstein, despite accusations against her that extend back more than 2 decades now. Giuffre claims Maxwell, along with Epstein, recruited, groomed, and abused her. She lives in Australia now. She's married with 3 children, and we talked to her yesterday. She told us that she thinks Ghislaine Maxwell should spend the rest of her life behind bars.
She is a monster. She's worse than Epstein. She did things even worse than Epstein did. She was vicious, she was evil, and she was a woman.
Her lawyers have said Ghislaine Maxwell is not a Jeffrey Epstein, that she has been a victim of media spin.
They're doing their job, but I know that woman. I've known her really well. Put it this way. Epstein was Pinocchio, and she was Geppetto. She was the guy controlling
the strings.
Jeffrey. Yep, she was pulling the strings. She had his money. He had her contacts. But Ghislaine was much more conniving and smart than Epstein ever was.
Prince Andrew was also part of the reason that Epstein was able to make so much money. He would give him access to confidential information. At the time, Prince Andrew served as the UK's special representative for international trade and investment.
Emails from the January 30th US DOJ release of the Epstein files strongly indicate that Andrew shared confidential documents with Epstein while Andrew was working as a British trade envoy. This is not, at least for now, about the women. It's about misconduct in office when it comes to what should have been confidential info. For example, a November 30th, 2010 email, which is after Jeffrey Epstein's 2008 sex crimes conviction, shows Andrew forwarded official reports about his trips to Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, and China to Epstein. He doesn't say anything in the email, he just forwards on the documents. A few weeks later, on Christmas Eve 2010, Andrew emailed Epstein directly about a, quote, confidential briefing, end quote, on investment opportunities in Helmand Province, Afghanistan, which at the time was being run by the British military. The BBC reports there's also an email in February of 2011 from Andrew to Epstein about an investment opportunity in a private company. The UK government says trade envoys carry a, quote, duty of confidentiality, So Andrew could be in some serious trouble here if he violated that duty of confidentiality by sharing British secrets with an American entrepreneur, especially one as controversial as Jeffrey Epstein. To make matters worse for him, misconduct in public office like this is apparently one of the most serious offenses in British law. If one is convicted, the potential sentence could be up to life in prison. There is zero chance Andrew is going to prison for life. That's BS. But okay, fine. It does technically carry that possible sentence. King Charles III, meantime, releasing a statement indicating that he supports the authorities. Listen to this. Quote, "I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair, and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I have said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course."
Sources close to the situation are saying that if Prince Andrew gets prosecuted, he could be looking at decades behind bars. This is the first time in over 400 years that a member of the royal family has been arrested. Trump even reacted to the arrest, calling it a shame.
I didn't go in thinking it would be, but I knew a lot hinged on how he responded to our questions.
He did not respond well. Some answers were bizarre.
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
Others, blatant lies.
To this day, I never had any contact with him.
That whole idea that he'd gone to New York to break off the friendship, he'd gone for the walk in Central Park. I mean, I now think, oh my God, he literally just sort of must have made all that up on the spot.
Do you think he thought it was going to play out differently? Because it was a train wreck from his perspective.
I remember him being pretty pleased with it afterwards. And I think it was only when the papers came out that weekend on the sort of Sunday and Monday that he realised how differently it had sort of come across.
It made global headlines. Mateless believes the damning interview cost the then Duke of York the respect of the nation. Days after it, he announced he was stepping back from royal duties.
Former Prince Andrew arrested by the police there, related to something with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think people in this country at some point, associates of Jeffrey Epstein, will wind up in handcuffs too?
Well, you know, I'm the expert in a way because I've been totally exonerated. That's very nice. I can actually speak about it very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing. To see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing. It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they speak. But I'm the one that can talk about it because I've been totally exonerated. I did nothing. In fact, the opposite. He was against me. He was fighting me in the election, which I just found out through the last 3 million pages of documents.
Former Prime Minister Torbjørn Jagland, he has been charged with aggravated corruption after authorities looked into his connection to Jeffrey Epstein, the deceased financier. You see, according to the New York Times, this is serious. He could face up to 10 years in prison. And investigators say they are probing, quote, whether gifts, travel, and loans were received in connection with his position. And he had served as prime minister from 1996 to 1997, foreign minister and secretary general of the Council of Europe at one point. So investigators, they even searched his home, 2 other properties. I mean, this is big. Again, it came out because of the release of these files. Now, he has denied all wrongdoing, but this is the first time in Norway since the end of World War II that a former prime minister has faced criminal charges. So what do the files say? Okay, you got June 2012. Jagland writes to Epstein, "Hi, Jeffrey. I tried to call you the other day, knowing that you were in Paris. I would have loved to see you. Tara and I spoke about you when we were in Luxembourg, agreeing that you are a fabulous person, easy, and at the same time demanding to be together with. Torbjørn." By the way, that reference was to Terrod Larsen. I might be mispronouncing the name. Former Norwegian politician. He has been accused of being Epstein associate as well. And I want you to remember something as we're going through these communications like 2012. This is after Jeffrey Epstein's conviction on Florida state charges of soliciting a minor for prostitution. That is what elevates that. That is why you are seeing a lot of this fallout, is that you were in communication with somebody who pled guilty to that. And speaking of which, what about this one from 2012? Hi, Jeffrey. No, I haven't called yet. I have been in Tirana, Albania. Extraordinary girls. 2013. By the way, Han and I have talked about coming back to somewhere in the Caribbean with my 2 sons during Easter, or I think it's Easter, to celebrate 60th birthday. I can't keep it going only with young women, as you know.
And then there's a Saudi prince. Epstein had access to royal families across the globe. At this point, everyone is wondering how he even got connected to these people.
A trade secretary about what purchases UK is going to make in the financial markets, that he has access to what India's prime minister is going to do in the United States or Israel, that he has access to an Israeli former prime minister, so much so that Netanyahu is making statements about the former prime minister's relationship with Epstein. I mean, how is this person as connected? Actually, that's one of the questions I want to ask President Clinton is, who is this guy? Or Trump, or in our classified information. I mean, why is this guy as connected as he is? People say, oh, he's just a collector of influential people. I know a lot of people who network in Congress. I try to network. I don't know all these world leaders. You don't get there just by networking. There's something else going on.
Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, resigned as CEO of DP World. This is Dubai's largest port operator. Doesn't help when you have this email, June 2013, from Epstein to bin Sulayem. All I know for sure is that you are one of my most trusted friends in every sense of the word. You have never let me down, not once, not half of once, and I greatly appreciate the time we spend together. This was the response. Thank you, my friend. I am off the sample, a fresh 100% female Russian at my yacht. Epstein responds, 100% Russian or 100% female? Question, if it were once a man and now has, and describes women's private parts, what percentage is it? And bin Sulayem responds, 100% female. Yeah, the messages between the two discuss women, girls, sexually explicit content, business dealings for sure, meetings with world leaders, yeah, and then the torture video. Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video. Epstein apparently sent that message in April 2009 to a redacted name, but then you had Representative Thomas Massie, who's been all over this, revealed that this was sent to assault him.
We know for a fact that Epstein was involved in blackmail. According to several online critics, Jeffrey Epstein was collecting blackmail material on rich and powerful people by inviting them onto his island and filming them in compromising positions after drugging them. By 2017, Jeffrey had already been convicted of sexual assault. So the fact that these elites were still meeting up with him says a lot.
A good idea. We ought to have an inventory. Then there was I hired a lady to be like the house manager who had run the U.S. Embassy in Rome, and she said, yeah, I know how to do this. And I said, well, why don't we keep inventories of stuff? And she said, well, yeah, I could do that. So she did that. That's kind of a puny example, but I wouldn't have had the idea. But then all the things were inventoried. That wasn't work for me or Jeffrey. It was just regularly done. Answer the question. 5 words, okay? Answer the question, okay.
When was the last time a lawyer threatened to kill their billionaire client over what they were saying? Les Wexner, the billionaire founder of L Brands, had a long professional relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, serving as his primary financial client from the late 1980s until 2007. Wexner recently testified before Congress, claiming he was conned and duped by Epstein.
Billionaire Les Wexner, one of the closest known benefactors of Jeffrey Epstein, says he was, quote, naive, foolish, and gullible for trusting the late convicted offender. The 88-year-old testified before members of the House Oversight Committee in a closed-door deposition yesterday. He previously led the former parent company of Victoria's Secret and hired Epstein to manage his money in the mid-1980s. In his prepared opening statement, Wexner said he cut ties with Epstein shortly after his arrest in late 2006, but the latest release of Epstein files show the two stayed in touch past then. In her book, Selling Sexy, Victoria's Secret and the Unraveling of an American Icon, CBS News contributor and Puck fashion correspondent Lauren Sherman discusses Wexner's years-long relationship with Epstein, and Lauren joins us now. So tell us more about their relationship.
So Epstein was advising Wexner since the early 80s. He was introduced to him by the guys at Bear Stearns. He was vetted by him. He was a casual advisor. And then by the early 1990s, Wexner actually granted him power of attorney, which we all know is a very rare thing to do with a financial advisor. And he had that until 2007 when all these accusations and Epstein started to get into really big trouble. Wexner has tried to remove himself from the Epstein narrative, but the reality is he made Epstein very rich. And so the two men have been intertwined and have affected Wexner's legacy as an entrepreneur and a person who really built a lot of Ohio over the last 40 years.
As more documents become public and more testimonies are examined, the full picture may still be unfolding. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive. And let me know in the comments, do you think we've seen the end of the Epstein fallout, or is this only the beginning?